Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Necropolis League 3.24. In this episode, I just want to talk about the build. So you can put this on your second monitor. You don't have to pay attention. You can just listen to this in the background, and I'm going to just be talking through the build. I've wanted to do this for a little while. And then I'm also going to just talk about the items in the build and the stats, and I'm going to go in a weird order that you may not agree with immediately. So I'm going to actually start with the cluster jewels. It's probably the last thing you would think of, and that's why I'm going to start with it. So to start it off, I'm going to show off this large cluster jewel. So we have the increased effect 35 and the minion attack speed 3%. So these are like the main two mods from the large cluster jewel. With these you would get the like 13 minion damage and the 4 attack speed, which makes this competitive with the tree. And then you are able to roll the extra prefix and suffix of the elemental res and the life. And then that's where this becomes crazy, because you're getting so much life, ele res, damage. It's a lot of stats, and so it's actually through the extra, and it's item level 84 for the 35% increase effect, and it's through these extra stats that this actually becomes better, because if you did this just with the increased effect and attack speed, it isn't actually that great. It's when you get the extra life and the ele res or other stats. Like on this one we have lightning resistance instead. And then you can see that this one was fractured ele res, so I used a caster reforge in harvest to craft the minion attack speed. Just use caster. And then this one, we had the attack speed fractured, so instead of using caster I used life. It was pretty easy. And then I wanted to go over the mediums, so I just do 4 Dreadmarch renewal. So this is 4% regen for the minions. It's also 10% physical damage reduction, 10% move speed, 10% life, 10% chaos res. So this is how we get our minions from the 20 chaos res up to 60, and this is how we get them up 40 physical damage reduction. They get extra life and extra move speed, extra regen, extra double damage. This is how the stone golem stays alive, because the stone golem has to survive a guardian's blessing, which does a physical dot of a % of his life and energy shield, and so physical damage, the physical damage reduction helps him survive that. He's got like 63% because of the tree within Dom army and the dread marches, the 63%, and the 4% regen from this, plus he has 1% base built-in regen on the actual stone golem through a buff that they don't post anywhere here. You can't see that he has an extra 1% regen, but he does, built in. So having the extra physical damage reduction helps that 1% base regen even more. And then that's how I keep him alive and help my minions stay alive. I just used the 4 of those. And then I did these smalls. And the small main thing is the increased effect. And it's a mana reservation efficiency of skills 84 small cluster jewel. And so it's increased effect of the reservation, which gets you 8% reservation. So in these 3 points, it's 24%, which is the same as taking charisma and a reservation node on top of it, and then you have the 6% aura effect. But then in this one we get all these extra stats, so you can get a prefix and 2 suffix. So in this case I'd hit life and ele res. I crafted this with reforged life, I'm pretty sure. And then you see we get 17 life, 14 cold, 6 ele res per. So it's quite a lot of life, quite a lot of reservation, quite a lot of res. And then I have a couple more of these, so cold res, life, regen, and then the increased effect. So regen instead of an extra elemental res. I would like the elemental res. And then we had just introspection. I'll explain this one real quick. Basically, I had purity of fire, and we have aura effect, and we have aura effect on us, and aura effect. And then I was more than 6% away of aura effect from 90 res, so I just took this introspection for 10% effect, and it gets us to 90 elemental res. You could take this out, you'd be at 89, you're missing a little bit of ele res of extra, and then you can use this jewel socket. I've been using the jewel socket for this taunt jewel. For simulacrum, I just put poison taunt in my build, and then I take this, and I take the 2 points and put it in life. Just take out the introspection just for that. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I wanted to start with clusters because I had a feeling that people don't value the other stats as much, and they only want the effect in the attack speed, for example. And I just wanted to put emphasis on the other one so you see the value and why I do it. Okay, so then I guess while I'm at it, I might as well go through the rest of the tree really quick. So yeah, that's the clusters. Huge amount of the build in the clusters. We did a storm shroud for the avoid shock on this flask to, since it's 100% avoid shock, this makes it so you apply it to all elemental elements. You're immune to all the elements. Then melding of the flesh to make it so our high max fire res makes it for all of our elemental reses. So we have 90 across the board. It was the melding, and we have so much elemental res. And then my timeless jewel, we're using an elegant hubris to commemorate Caspiro. You would want it to be Caspiro so you get the supreme ostentation, but we have one specific that gives us minion life on Axiom Warden. You can also get Slumlord for minion damage, but I found that the 80 minion life is a better value stat for our build because we have so much minion damage but so little minion life. And like if you thought about how many points on the tree 80 minion life is compared to 80 minion damage, it's worth more, and we actually need it more. So then I have an extra 80 minion life node and an extra 80 minion life node on this, so I could take 240 if I want to, so I could do some extra tanky, extra like difficult content with some extra tanky minions. And then that's it. Mostly cluster jewels, like I was saying. It's mostly cluster jewels. Oh, we have a Watcher's Eye. So I have a Watcher's Eye. The main mod that I started with was Haste, and then I have a lot of regen in the build that I built. We're at 2k, so this recovery rate from Vitality is actually huge. You can see it's like 280, and then the percent of fizz damage from hits taken as fire with Purity of Fire is really good. I would prefer some other mods, but you know, it's hard to get a 3 mod of exactly perfect mods of a Watchers because they're kind of rare and expensive. So I found just one with 3 mods that actually does stuff is good, and this one's really good, to be honest. And yeah, the main mod is the phasing because it's our only source of phasing. We could do like a quartz flask, but then you're building suppression and you're losing a whole flask. It's really big. And then we have, yeah, the flash life, the life recovery rate with the vitality is huge, and the fizz damage is fire, really nice. But it's only from hits, so it's not for dots, so you have to be careful of that. But the main mod I'd be looking for is the haste, and then anything else to work with the auras. So like any Purity of Fire aura, mod, vitality, grace, haste, determination. You don't have to get these exact ones, is my main point, except for the phasing is the one I mainly use. The other ones are just stats that you will be missing if you don't do it. So then, I wanted to talk about the chest plate. So we did a +4, so it's just double corrupted, and then it's a 39 less physical and chaos damage taken while sane. So we have this where you can unhinge to grant insanity. It relinquishes your grip on reality. So I become insane, and then I deal extra damage because I get the more crit strike chance, and enemies hit by me are destroyed. Enemies killed. And then yeah, you can unhinge. You lose the crit, but then you take less, and it just is always on. So we're just always taking less physical and chaos damage. So instead of converting it to another type and only through hits or maybe to fire, this is just actually taking less of the damage, which means you're way tankier. And then you also regen 10% of life over 1 second when hit. So it would take us up from the 2k to like 2700 regen when we get hit. It's crazy. Actually crazy. So we have +4, and then before this I was using the +4 Skin of the Loyal but it had three blue, so I had to use like minion speed or carry-on golem, so it was kind of awkward. But now I get to use the colors I want, so I'll show you. Raise zombie a slamming, 36. Awaken minion damage. Got Awaken Melee Fizz, Awaken Multi-Strike, Awakened Empower, Withering Touch, and Awakened Void Manipulation. So we were able to gain Awakened Void Manipulation for the 40 more Chaos damage instead of minion speed. So like we gave up the massive minion move speed, but when they're actually on the enemy and they don't need to move, this wasn't doing very much. It was a very weak damage multiplier, especially through attack speed, where it doesn't work very well with the slam because it has a cooldown, and you'd have to lower the cooldown more, but we actually increase the attack speed, which makes them go through the slam faster. One benefit is that technically when you want your zombie to do the full repeat and do the big slam, because the multi-strike on the third repeat does 66% more, so you actually want it to like hit the third. So technically some attack speed to get it cycling through the repeats faster through the slams is actually useful, because like another example is your zombie gets on a boss and it's doing the slams, and right before it finishes the last slam it teleports away and it misses the slams. So like it's nice when your zombie finishes its big multi-strike fast so it hits the enemy and it doesn't move out of the way. So it's still useful even though it's not just straight up DPS. This is just straight up DPS, more chaos damage, and it's quite nice, and you do notice it, especially when, like I said, if your minions aren't even using the move speed because they're already on the enemy, then this is just more damage usually. Especially you don't have the teleport problem that much, so either way, let's continue. So then, want a helmet. I ended up doing the +2 fracture. So I highly recommend this because it's so insane to craft the +2. Like you'd have to use like 22 bound pristine dense 3-socket resonators, and then you're hitting this, and then you still have to fracture the base, and otherwise you'd be reforging it to get the suffixes. The suffix I did an Essence of Envy, and I hit regen with cold res. You can also hit life regen rate, so you have 2 T1 life mods that you can hit for the suffix. It's really nice actually. The helmet's easier. And then I hit T2 res. I was trying to hit T1, but you know, and I crafted this helmet like 4 times, but you know, it is what it is. And then, so after I had the fractured mod, the suffix is done because I hit it through the Essence of Envy. I hit the life with an Eldritch Chaos Orb. I just made the Searing Dominant, Ember Dominant, Eldritch Chaos Orb reforged, and I hit T1 life first try. The odds of that are insane, but I crafted a few of these, and the other ones were not first try. I didn't hit T1 ever, so you know, it's okay. You could take like 70 tier 3 of life, so you don't have to spend as much. Like, yeah, you can Eldritch Chaos Orb, and then when the prefixes are full, you Eldritch Chaos Orb it. When they're empty, you craft a flat armor. This like 75 to armor, and then you slam with an Exalted Orb, and you could just keep doing that, and then you could remove the craft and add another mod, and then annul after you hit the life if you hit a good life, especially with an Eldritch Orb of Annulment that only annuls the prefixes. Nice. And then the implicits, I ended up doing the Eater of Worlds with physical as cold. You can do lightning, fire, maybe not chaos because you only have 75 chaos res, but you also have the less damage taken of the chaos, so that you could argue that that's better. It depends. It also is harder to hit the exact mod. That's the one issue. So anyways, what I ended up doing was using Grand, because it's like 15 per div, and one of these Orbs of Conflict is a div, so if I could roll the mod for like a div or half a div, then it would be cheaper than upgrading it from lesser to grand, because it would cost multiple divs. Anyways, so I rolled the Fizz's LE, and you, like I said, you could use any of them, basically. Which makes it a lot easier to roll. That's why it's cheap to roll with the Grand. And then I ended up upgrading it using, you know, Exceptional Embers, Orb of Conflict, upgraded it, and then I rolled the Minion Life. I could have also rolled Minion Move Speed for my Searing, so I had 2 mods, and I just kept it. So our AG's at 156,000 HP with that. Implicits are done. helmet's done. The only upgrade really for this would be like the slight extra cold res, divining the regen. It's basically done though, and you could have a different helmet. There's also, I could sacred orb the base so it has more armor, which is useful. We'll do the boot. I ended up doing life, move, speed, res, life regenerate, chaos res. So the one thing you don't probably need is the life, the move speed. You don't need 35, and you don't need technically T1 life. And the way I looked this up was looking up 31 chaos, 21 life regen, 20 life regen, and res, any of the three, and swapping the res with harvest. You can swap the resistances in harvest, so it makes it a lot easier to find it when you have one res on the gear. And you could also have had an open prefix. You don't need the increased armor and evasion. It is nice that our base has 166, so it's not useless, but I bought this, that's why it has 20 quality, and I just wanted to expose that. Yeah, I looked for this, and I looked for the lowest of the mods, and then you could technically define it up. Trying to find the best, like 89 life instead of 80 life is ridiculous. Don't do that, because it's just about the roll. So then the last thing, the implicits, I did Searing Exarch, and so Embers got the max fire res with Grand, and then I upgraded it, and then I ended up rolling Eater of Worlds after with Grand, and so you only upgrade the max fire res to Exquisite, and this one to Exquisite, because there's nothing at Perfect. It doesn't go to 9%, it doesn't go to 3%, it's just 2 and 8. So don't go to Perfect. And then Grand was 9 life regenerate I did, so our regen's up to like 2k. Our life's 29. Oh, it's sick. It's actually so sick. And then the extra fizz is LE. Then we did the glove. So this one was same thing of res, life regenerate, chaos res with the life. And then the only thing you have to have is try to find an open prefix. Or you annul an open prefix using like an Eldritch Orb of Annulment, and usually it'd be like a 1 in 3. 2 in 3, because the 1 in 3 is the hitting the life to delete it, unless you have another good prefix. There was also the option of suffixes cannot be changed, or the meta beast to add suffixes cannot be changed, and then doing like a veiled orb where you ashling the prefixes and 50-50 delete the rarity and or the life, and add some sort of veiled mod. Maybe like mana and regen, for example, is a thought I had, but reality is I'll just keep the rarity. I don't want to risk it. I don't care that much, and I just crafted the minion damage. But I could have gotten a little bit of extra mana and regen on the glove if I wanted to 50-50 risk the life, and if I deleted the life, I would have had to reforge the prefixes, which I really didn't want to do. So then I rolled the implicits with the Searing Exarch Grand for minion damage, and then once I did that, I upgraded it, did exceptional Ichors, and then I upgraded with Orbs of Conflict, and then we put Suppress. Nice. I'm actually gonna DMD. I'm just gonna DMD for the vid. Okay, so yeah, that's the glove. We don't actually build suppress, we only have 7%, so that's our only suppress. And then the minion damage, we got up to 661. We took out a lot of minion damage when we did some swaps. So for example, the clusters and the tree and the timeless jewel, I was using the minion damage nodes. I had like 160 from that. But I actually find I still have great damage through just the cluster jewels, taking all the nodes, through the attack speed and everything, and the levels, and getting the Awaken Void Manip and the AG Explode AoE and stuff. It's more than just having only raw minion damage. Yeah, it's really cool. So then, mention the I was saying that because of the minion damage, though. This one glove gives 49. It's pretty good. Then our ring. So for the Hungry Loop, for our Animate Guardian, he's got the Withering Touch, Awakened AoE, Awakened Void Manip, Minion Life. So the Minion Life, more life, more Chaos damage, more big AoE, and then the Wither and Fizz as Chaos. Super sick. We did the Mega Blood. Mega Blood with Perma Quicksilver, Granite, Silver, Ruby. They changed Ruby so that it's max fire resistance instead of less fire, which is really annoying. So that's how we built up our max fire res so easily for the melding this season. We didn't need the charms from the wildwood. And then yeah, so move speed, armor, move speed, and max fire and fire res. And then I got the extra mods of increased effect, reduce curse, so we're curse immune with extra, avoid stun immune, crazy regen, look at this, 1992, so it's more than the vitality mod on the Watcher's Eye, 400 in just that, and then the avoid shock for the shock immune, and then I did a progenesis, and the progenesis matters, like the stats, so I did 35 increased duration is the most important stat. And then when you do reduced charges, 18, 19, 20 are the same. They are all 28 of 65 charges. So an 18 reduced charges is perfect. A 19 is perfect and a 20 is perfect. So there's no point in paying more for a 20, even though it's technically perfectly rolled, and the other one it isn't. It is the same, and so you should just save money and only buy the 18 reduced. And then even the quality is only, we're talking about like 0.3 to like 0.6 seconds of 10. It's not even 1 second through the extra quality of a corruption, so don't worry about corrupting this either. But worry about getting the increased duration good and good reduced charges, yeah. And Progenesis is really nice in our build. It's better in Pathfinder, but when hit during effect, 25% of life lost from damage taken occurs over 4 instead, so this helps for one-shots. Huge mitigation. Okay, next. Ring. So ended up, this ring is crazy, and people have asked how to make it, so it's got life, minion damage, minion LE res, minion move speed, and attack speed, so the way you would get this is you'd have the minion damage fractured, because that's the hardest mod. And then when that's already pre-fractured, it gets a lot easier. So then with the suffixes, you're usually just using like bound fossils. To be honest, bound fossils are like the best way to roll these suffixes, because they're all minion mods and they have like double the weighting of normal mods, and then you increase their weighting through bound fossils. And then once you have these 3 suffixes, or let's say one of them is T2, another way to do it before was when the Veiled Chaos Orb was cheap, you could, suffixes cannot be changed with your full suffixes, and then do the Veiled Chaos Orb and get like a pretty easy max life hybrid mod. And it would be like 50, but nowadays, the Veiled Orb is so expensive, and yeah, I don't think it's guaranteed. It's close though. It's almost guaranteed. You could probably just craft the life at that point and just have a slam of an extra mod on the prefix. So you would have the suffixes, the fractured minion damage, and then crafted life with some random suffix with some random prefix. It'd probably be way cheaper than trying to like hit the life on the prefix after, because you have to do like the let's say suffixes cannot be changed with a life reforger or something, and then you have to hit the exact life mod, so it'd be like 1 in 7. It's quite expensive on top of the fracture, on top of the craft of the suffixes. You could, but I'm telling you, just craft the life and you're already doing pretty good there, and you don't spend all the extra, and then you could probably upgrade later, or even just buy one, because they're actually, somehow people are crafting them, especially with the graveyard, and not even, they're not even crafting these normally, because like a quad fracture isn't possible outside of the graveyard. So yeah, and I had gotten this early, and I got it for cheap, and I kind of just hold on to it as like a showcase, like look at this trophy, like look at what somebody actually created, and look, you could make the same item without the fractures, because if you look at it, the guy had actually hit all 4 mods, including the minion damage. That's all the suffixes and the prefix, and then the life, and what the fuck is that ring? Yeah, it's pretty nasty. So it's like he he could have hit it without the fractures. And then the fractures are kind of bad because you can't divine them. but they are only, it's only 3 off perfect anyway, so it's really nice. And then I wanted to show the amulet. So Ulnatel's Vow. I tried rolling this myself with the vines. It's really bad. Don't do it. Probably buy one with decent reses because yeah, there's so many rolls. Like minus 30 to positive 30 times 3, and then the minus 23 to positive 23. That's so many rolls. It's insane. You think, oh yeah, I'll just get no. Okay, this thing though, giving us the extra socket. So yeah, we get the Awakened multi, so we have the 7 link, and it's actually disgusting. Huge, huge bonus to the main link for the zombies. I love it. I love the Sammy. Then I anointed Grave Pact for the accuracy. So that my carry-on golem and specters and golems have enough, and the Animate Guardian has enough accuracy to hit. Except I believe I crafted a hits can't be evaded on the Animate Guardian weapon anyway, so I don't think he can be evaded, but I still did it for the other ones, and it's mainly because they're trying to stack Withering Touch, and so if they're not accurate, then they can't stack Wither, which would be a big thing for our damage. So I tried to make sure they have enough accuracy, even though I'm using Zombie of Slamming, and the zombie slam can't be evaded, so I don't even need the accuracy. But then when the zombie isn't slamming, so when the zombie default attacks still, he doesn't technically have the unevadable attack, and also, well, he still has enough accuracy without the Grave Pact. Then there's like Blind and Enfeeble and Curse Effect and blah blah blah, and it doesn't happen. I probably won't have an issue, but like I say, then it's more about the Withering Touch, and it's also not a bad damage node because it's got the 6% double damage. And then what else would you take anyways? It's maybe like a minion life node, and it's really about, it's a situational thing of like if you're actually doing hard content where you need the minion life to keep your minions alive. Like maybe if I'm pushing back to basics T17s, for example, which frightens me. It kind of reminds me of like a PoE2, like super hard back to basics, because you delete all the extra content in your maps. You can't apply influence. What the fuck is this, dude? It's just effect? It's so weird. Is that the way it used to be? Okay, next. So yeah, Ami's sick though. And then it's funny that I actually did the build, I think, backwards from the way most people would do it. So they would have thought like wands first and cluster jewels last, so I did it the opposite. I talked about my cluster jewels first and my wands last, so we'll talk about this one first. So this one has a fracture. Minions are aggressive. Minions are aggressive is a mod you cannot craft. You can't get this other than from Delve. So Delve, and then you find a minion node. So you see how this is a fossil node? You would find one that says contains minion items or something, and then you can find it in a chest. You don't even get it from the monsters, so it's max item level 83. You don't want 83 usually, you want 82, or 76 to 82, and then yeah, you get the minions are aggressive fracture, and we did our minion 1 craft. This is like 4,000 tries to get the T2 minion damage, by the way, so I highly recommend keeping just like crafted minion damage with a +2. It's way cheaper. And then I reforged the suffixes with prefix gonna be changed for crit multi. Boom, have a vid on that, and crafted attack speed. Big wand. So that's 129 minion damage, crit multi, +2 aggressive and attack speed, and we have the extra AoE from the quality. And then this one I bought from Graveyard. This is where we get the rest of the accuracy, so 531 flat accuracy. If you wanted to replace this, it actually takes quite a bit to get the extra accuracy. And then yeah, we have the extra crit chance, crit multi, +2 minion damage, and you could divine this for the extra crit strike chance, the crit multi, and the minion damage. The only reason I didn't is because the accuracy roll is actually kind of nice, and I didn't want to ruin it, because I actually felt like I kind of need it. And you can see that this one only had 20 quality, so I only get 5 AoE instead of 7. Feels bad, man. But this one I bought for like 10. I was looking for +2 with 100 minion damage, and then it also had these suffixes, which were disgusting. So then in this we have like 100 crit multi, like 100 crit strike chance, or with the power charges, like 200 crit strike chance, and yeah, we have like the 3k accuracy on the non-zombies, and then yeah, it's really cool. For this build, been using monkeys. You may have noticed it's just the normal specters. 4 monkeys, 2 Carnage Chieftains, 2 Host Chieftains for the frenzy charges and power charges, and then we have our Animate Guardian. So a quick update for him. I will show you. Give me a sec. But for him, basically, I upgraded a couple pieces of his gear, and then I also wanted to show off his old stuff. So I guess I'm gonna open up a POB real quick with some of this stuff to show off the Animate Guardian upgrades. Okay, so let's do this, and then let's show it. So window, POB, okay, and then I'll show the 2 new items I made first. So we got a helmet. So I added this helmet to him. Basically, it's a double influenced helmet. And so I did nearby enemies have -12. So I just got some -9s hunter helmets, and I bought them with another influence modifier so that I could Maven Orbit 50/50, upgrade the nearby enemies have 12%, and then this other mod, so I could use any base for that. Oh, wait. The way I actually... No, I crafted that myself. Yeah, I crafted that myself, got it with an extra influence mod, and then I Mavened it myself on a pig face bassinet. The other one, so Socketed Gems are supported by level 20 AoE, that's a Shaper mod, and I got that one as any base. I just bought one off trade, and then I combined it with an Awakener Orb, and so I deleted the AoE base and added it to my -12. But basically, pig face bassinet. I wanted a decent helmet for my AG, and then I crafted +1 AoE gem, which actually gives an extra 10 AoE. So my helmet had 25 AoE, the -12 chaos res, and then it has the fire res and cold res. So actually, this is like Crown of the Tyrant. You can use this helmet instead, where it has nearby enemies have -10 to all resistance instead of -12 chaos. It's similar. And then if you do all white sockets, you would actually get quite a bit of extra chaos damage, added chaos damage. Especially when you compare this to like a carry-on golem and its buff, for example. 29 to 43. This is more, and it's per, so you could get 4 white sockets. But the thing is, this is you and nearby allies, so that's the one thing, that it's actually only nearby to the Crown of the Tyrant, kind of like this being nearby, but this is enemy, where that's ally, so yeah. And then the main difference, why I didn't do it, as you can see, I actually got res on my helmet, fire and cold, and this is really useful because of the rest of the gear that I was using. And then I have one more thing to show. And I'll put this obviously in the POB as well with the Animate Guardian. But yeah, here we go, another item. So it was a explode claw. Basically, you got a synthesis claw with the implicit of 15% chance to explode, and it had 1.1 weapon range, really good attack speed. So what I ended up doing was using like attack speed essence. So it was Essence of Zeal. And then I just had attack speed, fire res, and I crafted Fizz as extra chaos. I think the other one has hits can't be evaded with like poison and stuff and attack speed. But yeah, I would like to actually get the rest of the stuff up for the AG. I have a vid for the old gear, and I'll show it all in this vid. Okay. Just gonna fresh import, fresh import, and then add it here. So for example, the claw, and the helmet. So the old helmet was -9, and you can see it was fire and cold, an extra melee strike range, so I swapped it for the AoE, and then we still had the fire and cold, but then we had less fire, so that's where I had swapped the weapon for this, and it ended up getting the extra fire res, and then it had poison and attack speed and double damage on this one. I actually think I crafted hits can't be evaded, but yeah, I have the accuracy anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I've been recommending the accuracy, and then I still run Voidwalker because phasing is so good on the Animate Guardian. We still have the Explode, but the Explode chest is 35 now, and somehow I don't have a thing of that. I have to add that in. Let's just craft it here. So imagine the body armor was... I think I did an Evasion Assassin's Garb, and then we did Crusader, and I combined it with a Redeemer. So we got enemies explode, but that's only D1, or the normal one. We want the elevated one. There's the elevated, and then 12 AoE, and then we had nearby enemies are blinded, but there's actually the upgraded one. Cannot be blinded, nearby enemies are blinded. So your AG actually can't be blinded. This is the elevated Redeemer mod. I bought this. It was cheap on another base. Otherwise, you could just do nearby enemies are blinded. And then... I can't remember what I had on this other than... Oh, I think I had lightning. I did hit lightning. And that was basically it. I think I hit suppress on it too. Like a tiny bit. But, Oh no, I hit dex. I had, like, useless mods. Yeah. I could get some increased evasion rating on him, basically. And, like, it was maybe, like, stun and block recovery or something. It was irrelevant. Yeah, and, like, maybe... It was, like, flat life on the prefix. But, either way, let's put this in. No. Yeah, so we had the 35 explode on the chest. And the AoE chant, increase AoE, and then the helmet with the AoE. And then the weapon with the explode. So we actually went up to 65. Oh, this one I never put it on there. Add implicit. What? Is that why I never did it? Nice. There. 2 explode weapons for the 65% explode chance. And then, like I say, we socket him in the explode ring and everything. Either way, those are all the upgrades. That's the build. Huge changes. We'll have a POB final, new POB with the AG updated in the description below. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope you guys enjoyed me going over everything. I have one more thing I just remembered. This is build swaps. So technically, we can swap in this jewel, like I said, for this one, for the introspection, save the 2 points, take some life, and then we have taunt in the build, and this is for simulacrum. You could technically run a Skin of the Loyal instead of the the Doppelganger, but this is tankier to Fizz dots, Chaos dots, because it's less damage taken, and not just from hits. And then this is like armor and evasion and ES, where this is actually like more defenses. The problem with this is it has a life mod, so you can't take the life mastery for 15% max life, which is unfortunate. But it is a really nice chest for Fizz and Chaos. And I just want to mention that swap. And then there's one more swap that I sometimes make, which is the Jade Flask for the Silver Flask. And you could run it with, like, regen instead of evasion rating. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Either way, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys did enjoy the talk over the build, discussing all the stuff, the stats, talking about the gear and the build choices. One more. The gems in the build, because I went over the main link, but not the other ones. So, we had the cast and damage taken immortal call, level 1 cast and damage taken, so that it triggers the level 38, and the 38 is the immortal call, and the 38 immortal call goes for 1 second for less LE damage and less fizz damage. I like this one, without even having endurance charges. Vitality, 2120. We have our Enlighten 4 linked with auras, so Determination, Purity Fire, Grace. Then our Spectre, the monkeys, are linked with Carrion Golem of Hordes. Hordes is how we get the extra golems. So you may have seen we had 4. Basically, we only have the tree, so we only have 2. But with Hordes, it bypasses the limit and gives you an extra 2 for only the Hordes. So I get 2 Carrion Golems, basically. And then we have the Chaos Golem and we have the Stone Golem. Spectre and Carrion Golem linked to Withering Touch and Block Chance Reduction. A lot of people have asked about this. Block Chance Reduction support, basically the reason why it's level 1 with no quality is it only inflicts overpowered when blocked. So the enemy has to block it, and overpowered reduces the block. So you actually want the enemy to block, and by leveling this up, they block less. By giving it quality, they block less. So it actually is worse. Because you want this link to remove the block from the monster for the zombies and the AG to actually kill it. Okay, then the Defiance Banner, Chaos Golem, Flame Dash. And then we have the Stone Golem linked to Haste and Guardian's Blessing. And like I showed, the Guardian's Blessing is only level 1, so it only has to survive 8% of its life NES as physical damage per second dot. And that's where we have the Dread Marches and the Renewals and the 1% regen on the Stone Golem. And it's only a level 1 Guardian's Blessing. And I've also linked him to Feeding Frenzy because it gives the buff. And the buff gives more minion damage and more minion speed and attack speed. So you want the buff in your build, even though we already have aggressive from the wand. We need a link for it. And then I didn't want to give up the main link of the Hungry Loop. So we got the extra AoE on the Animate Guardian. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad I went over the rest of the stuff. I almost missed all that. But either way, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys in today's stream. Bye!